Hello. Boy, it's weird doing these during the daytime. I don't normally do that. All right, so this one was interesting. This was a good one. I'm glad I saw this one. I had my doubts, and my parents went and saw it and told me it was really good. So I decided to check it out, and glad I did. Interesting story and pretty well told. My mom said it was kind of like Argo, but I don't think it's quite as good as Argo. I don't think it's as tight or as kind of well planned out. But we'll get into that. So, basic story of this one, true story apparently. As most people know, after World War II, a lot of the really, really high up Nazis either committed suicide or managed to escape to Argentina or to South America. And this film concentrates on the Israeli government discovering the existence of one of the higher ups, like one of the guys who they call him the architect of the final solution. So one of those really high up guys, they discover him living in South America, and they send an extraction team to basically go get the bastard. So it's one of those not just the kind of the procedural stuff, but this one's a little bit more personal, as of course it's a team of Israelis going to get the guy who, basically planned out how to have so many of their relatives killed. But they capture the guy played by Ben Kingsley. They capture him fairly early on in the movie, but plans fall through, things happen, and they end up having to hold this guy captive for 10 days or something like that, and trying to get him to sign this paper that says he's willingly going to be extracted and willingly going to be held for trial in Israel. So a lot of the film is one, keeping him hidden, and two, trying to get him to sign this paper that he's, that nobody would really ever sign in that situation, or, at least in most cases. So the main thrust of the film is Ben Kingsley's character, who is the Nazi, and Oscar Isaac's character, who's one of the extraction team, who I don't want to say strikes up a friendship with him. Let's say strikes up a dialogue with him while he's being held, and kind of actually has conversations with him instead of just threatening him and all this, to basically get him to agree to sign this paper so that they can get out of there. So it's a fairly... So as opposed to Argo, the only thing I can get to compare it to is Argo. Argo is more procedural. It's just, this is what happened, this is what we had to do, this is how we set it up, this is what we did. This one deals a lot more with the personal aspects of it, which I think for a film about a guy who fucking planned the Holocaust, I think, yeah, you kind of have to, put that personal thing in there. You can't just kind of go, oh, it's all kind of, we're all just emotionally detached. Nobody's emotionally detached from the Holocaust, or at least you shouldn't be. Good performances throughout this one. This is the best acting I've ever seen Oscar Isaacs do. And I've only seen him in a few things, so it's not exactly the best way to judge the man's filmography. I've seen him in X-Men Apocalypse and the two most recent Star Wars movies. So I always thought, okay, he's decent, but I don't know. I think he was fairly good in this. I don't think he was great, but I think he did a pretty good job. It was nice to see Ben Kingsley actually acting again, and showing us why he's an Oscar winner, and he's Sir Ben Kingsley. The last couple of movies he's done, he's acted like such a fucking lunatic. I mean, it was funny in Iron Man, but all I could think is that god-awful driving movie from last year, that Collide or whatever, where he was just all over the place. It's like, oh my god, dude, you got an Oscar. Come on. Have some dignity. So it's nice to see him kind of back in this, back to form, playing, you know, it must be really difficult for some of these older British actors when they have to play Nazis, especially in a film like this, because it's a really fine line you gotta walk between the monster we know they are and the person who made the decisions. It's easy to kind of classify people as monsters and beasts, but eventually you have to kind of look at the nose of a human being who made this call. And he does a really nice job of balancing the actual person with the monster. And what I liked about this film is Ben Kingsley's so good that while he's given the typical Nazi line, oh, I was just following orders, I didn't know what I was doing, I tried to stop it, all that, he had an earnestness to him that really made you think, boy, I wonder if he's telling the truth. Which for a movie is excellent. That's what you want. You want to have that that doubt. Are these people so blinded by their anger and their need for justice or revenge, depending on how you want to look at it, that they really have, that maybe this guy really didn't do all these things, or maybe he wasn't as bad as they, but then, then it turns and you're like, no, this guy was a fuck ass, So I like that it gave you that, and it wasn't just kind of a cartoony show of villainy. He was actually being fairly honest about it. I liked that. So the film was good. I found it very educational and enjoyable. I thought, because again, it's been, we hear all these stories about things like this, but we don't know kind of what went on. And of course, these are films, so they're not 100% accurate. But it's neat to kind of finally hear some of these tales. I won't say the movie's perfect. I think it, like I say, because Argo had a nice procedural thing to it, I think the movie flowed a lot better. This one I felt was a little choppier. It was very choppy in between scenes, and tone kind of shifted a bit more than I could really get into it, but nothing too bad. One thing I did have kind of an issue with, and I understand that when you're dealing with a film like this, you're dealing with both, you're trying to tell an authentic story, but you're also trying to tell a dramatically interesting one. So there's this kind of dual masters you're trying to serve. So in a film like this, things are going to go wrong. Something's going to go wrong at the last second. There's going to be a heart-stopping kind of chase and all this to kind of get to the extraction point or something like that. But honestly, it felt like a lot of crap went wrong in this movie, during this plan, to the point where you're kind of like, okay, guys, did you seriously not think any of this out? I mean, because it seems like there's a lot of dumb shit you're doing. That why would you do this in front of this person, or why would you, any of that? So there was a lot of that type of stuff in this film, and it makes you kind of wonder, boy, did they just not think this through? And I was legitimately wondering, okay, was this mess up, or this screw up, or this complication, did that actually happen? Or was it dramatically inserted to make the film more exciting? And if either way, like if it actually happened, you can kind of understand it, because, obviously in real life, these plans don't go as well as they do in like James Bond movies or something. They're not slick and polished and all this, that, and the other thing. There's a lot of loose ends and a lot of things you can't control. So I think the film did a very good job of, kind of portraying that aspect of it. But at the same time, it does kind of make the people making the plans look a little doofy, So there's that. One thing I do like about this movie, and this is one of the things I liked about Argo, is that I always like these kind of, I don't want to say spy thrillers, but I guess they kind of are. You know, these spy thrillers or intelligence thrillers that take place, you know, before we had all of this technology that we do. Because you go and see these movies now where, like, they've got all the heart pieces, they've got nonstop communication with each other, they've got, you know, little, I'm thinking back to, like, Mile 22, where they had a whole support team, whole tech team in a different, you know, country, monitoring them all, and all this. So it's interesting to see that they have to do all this by kind of word of mouth. They have to find evidence by, you know, shifting through birth certificates and marriage certificates. They got to do the whole thing with hiding the camera in the bag and clicking it. You know, they got to do everything analog, and it makes the, you know, kind of the procedure of it a lot more interesting. That being said, there is something I hate, and it's not just about this movie, but it is about all movies as of late, and I want to just voice my displeasure here. Hollywood, I am sick and tired of seeing movies with people on the fucking toilet. Can we have one goddamn movie where we don't see somebody as they're sitting on the toilet going to the bathroom? We spend all this money in all of our public, public places to put doors on bathrooms. We have all this outrage now about who can use what bathroom, because I don't want that person in there with me, and blah, blah, blah. But all our movies, boom, right there, Ben Kingsley on the shitter. Okay, stop. If I could work my will, if I could have all the power of God, the first thing I'd do is say, you can't puke or show someone on the toilet in movies anymore. I'm tired of seeing it. I was tired of seeing it the first time I saw it. But it is just, God, it is, I hate it so much. Why do it? It's disgusting. And I'm sorry, I hate it. I hate that, and again, it's not just this movie's fault. They all fucking do it. But this one, it was like the last straw for me. I cannot stand seeing people on the toilet. Anyway, so minor issue aside. Anyway, the film is very gripping and very interesting, emotionally rewarding. You know, you feel like the characters. It's interesting to watch one of these because normally they try to put these things where, you know, the character has some distant relationship to what's going on, or what's going on mirrors something that's going on in their personal life, or a mission they blew in the past, or something like that. So it's neat to see one of these where the people involved have a personal stake in it and what that does to them emotionally going through their mission. So I liked that. The cast worked very well. Unfortunately, the only two names I recognized or could even bother pronouncing were Oscar Isaacs and Ben Kingsley. The rest of the cast, I recognized some of them from other films, but I couldn't tell you their names or even the name of the characters they played. But they did a really, really nice job. It was a nice ensemble piece, and I wish they could have expanded on the ensemble a little bit more. So yeah, it was a good movie. It just left me, I don't know, just left me wanting a little bit, but not in a bad way. Not in so much I wouldn't recommend it. So, wrapping up for this one. Wow, I thought I would have more to talk about, but I really don't. So wrapping up for this one, final grade. I'm gonna say an A- on this one. Good film. Definitely one of the most thought out and well-paced and well-acted films I've seen this year. Just missing a bit in terms of, I don't know, just that little extra oomph that it needed to kind of get it over with me. But still an enjoyable romp. I have no issue with it. Outside of, I really don't want to see Ben Kingsley on the toilet. So, I mean, that's kind of my only thing. Thanks for watching. Labor Day weekend at the movies rolls on. We're going to see what'll happen. And until next time, Drive safe, and I will see you at the movies.